Hi, it's Beth O'Reilly, AIFD, back with my second installment for the Mayesh Design Star Finals. And it's June, and there's no better time to do something fresh. So we picked a fresh color palette to bring in the summer, aquas and greens, and our star of the show is the Gloriosa Lily. We've got the long stem Gloriosa lilies that you can ask for from Mayesh. They come either short stem or long stem, and I love to work with the long stem to really just display what a gorgeous flower these can be. And we're kind of thinking outside of the box today, so we're stepping outside of the vase too. That means all of these designs are made outside of the vase. All of our mechanics are done, there's no water in these vases, and all of these can be done for any of your clients or special events. So, highlighting the Gloriosa Lily today with our outside of the vase design. We've also got some beautiful green anthuriums. One of my favorite foliages that's so versatile, so many things that you can do, is the Hala foliage. And just a little bit of accent with some equisetum. Can bend this stuff and do all kinds of fun things. It's all about line, it's all about tension with this design. So we're keeping it fun and we're keeping it fresh. And this accordion foliage is really fun. And sometimes, you think this is too big. So what I've done in these designs is I've just split it and used just a portion of it. It's very flexible. You can make some really interesting cascades and lines with it if you just you can get probably 3 or 4 pieces out of this. So that's one technique that's used in this design. We've also got some wonderful white hydrangeas. We've got a little bit of stripped hanging amaranthus just to bring in a little bit of texture and a little bit of movement. And then these great containers from UCI. I love the white cylinders. They just add a different dimension to what we're doing in these vases. They have a black cylinder vase and a white cylinder vase. And to me, they are just really modern and really stunning and so versatile to add to your collection. Something like this is a concept that I would do maybe for a hotel lobby. You can design it on site, you can freshen it every other day or so with the water tubes. The anthuriums would hold up just wonderfully. If I was doing it for like a week long, I might suggest something other than a hydrangea, but everything else in this design is going to hold up for that length of time. And Accent Decor has been kind enough to provide me with these mitsumata sticks. And these are kind of the backbone to our design, because designing outside of the vase, we need an armature to hold our water source. And that's exactly what these sticks are going to do for us today. We're accenting with a little bit of green trachelium, and then also we've got the midelino sticks, which, sometimes we look at that pack in the wholesale house and we're like, what can we do with these? You can create interesting lines. Again, it's about balance, it's about line, it's about tension. So I've just quickly wired up several of them. They're already prepped. I've got a little bit of 18 gauge wire on either end, and I can bend these around into the arrangement and attach them wherever I need to create some really interesting lines. So let's get started, and I'm going to show you how I've created these designs. This is a little bit more simple. The designs behind me have a little bit more going on, so you don't have to put too much in. I mean, in this vase alone, we probably have just a couple of stems of hydrangea, 1 or 2 pieces of foliage, the mitsumata sticks, the midelino sticks, and of course our Gloriosa Lily. There's not a whole lot of product in there, and look at the show we're getting. So we're going to start with one of these great UCI containers. I also have a collar from Oasis. Some of these I've used the collar, some of them I haven't. It's really just kind of what you prefer and what you like to do. I love to use these sticks upside down. So it just creates a different kind of a line than most people are used to seeing. So don't be afraid to use these mitsumata sticks in a different direction. We're thinking outside of the box, outside of the vase. We might as well think on the other side of the stick too. So I'm just going to work on creating some really fun lines with this. And then we're going to bind them together with, I have the Oasis collar, so I can just kind of use some of that, but I can also use my 18 gauge wire. And when I'm working on a design like this, I just go ahead and wire, and I clip my mechanics off later. So I'm going to get to working on building a little bit of an armature, and then we're going to come back and put the flowers in. Okay, and as you can see, I've just worked a little bit of the sticks in, really kind of free form, nothing that you have to really overthink. I've bound it to the lip of the vase, bound themselves to each other with the wire, and now I'm gonna start creating my design. Now, I don't know about you, if you've ever picked up one of these vases full of water, it's pretty heavy. So I've decided in this design for this installation that everything that I'm going to place in and outside of the vase has a water tube. So that includes my hydrangeas. There's plenty of water source that we're going to leave there for them. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of this hanging amaranthus. I have pre-wired some water tubes with some wire so I can easily attach them wherever I need to on the design. And I'm just gonna attach a couple of these. When you're working on a design like this, it's really easy to make a design, what I call a design face, where I start sticking my tongue out and getting a little bit involved. So if you see a funny face, that's my design face. We only need a few. We're not adding that many flowers to this design. I think I'll stick one right here in the front and wire that right into the collar. And then we're gonna accent it with our flowers and foliage. Sometimes these water tubes are a little hard to get a flower into, and I have to just take my knife and create a larger slit for those to go into. And we get some nice movement going that way. I'm gonna pick a smaller anthurium, one that's going in a direction that I like, and add it just like that. I also think it would be fun to add some of this wired wool. This comes from Accent Decor as well, just so we can have that little pop of color that I think makes this design so fresh and so unique. This wired wool has a texture that is really, there's nothing like it. So using it in your designs gives a very organic feel, and it's also fun. And June is all about fun, so we're gonna add some of the Hala foliage, and when I'm working with the Hala foliage, whether I'm sticking it in foam or whether or not I'm just going to stick it in the water tube, I always create a nice little smaller, because it's such a wide flat surface, it's hard to get things into either the foam or the water tube. I'm gonna make a little space in this water tube. And now we're ready to create kind of a really fun line. And you can slip the Hala foliage in through the wire collar and just kind of let it balance on its own. We're gonna go back to this accordion foliage and just add a little bit of that into the design. This is a little bit broad, so I'm gonna just trim it down just a little bit. And you can add back into the same water tubes that you're already working with, which is what I'm doing here. And I'm gonna follow this line as well. I'm gonna take some of my midelino sticks that I've already pre-wired, and I can have a lot of fun just attaching these in different areas and creating that little punch of turquoise color that makes this design so fun. And we can create some really great lines that way. So I'm just gonna keep on working, just kind of building this out just a little bit further. And then we're going to get to the fun part of adding our Gloriosa lilies. So now it's time for us to add our Gloriosa lilies. We've got our structure down, we've added all of our components, and now it's time for a little bit of pizzazz. We're gonna add the color to the arrangement. I'm gonna water tube the Gloriosa lilies, and we're just gonna use a couple of stems. I'm gonna work these down into the grid work. And one more stem. Again, this is not a lot of product, but we're really getting a lot of show. And every accessory that we're using is really getting a big bang for its buck. So there you have it, a design outside of the vase, something a little different to offer your clients, something wonderful with Mayesh Awesome Blossoms, And I hope you come back because I have one more installment to bring you and you don't want to miss it. Come back and see me in September as we bring nature's bounty.